Hallo liebe Believer und herzlich willkommen zurück hier auf Believe. Nach einer klitzekleinen Pause nach der Halloween Monster Madness bin ich wieder zurück und ich habe gleich, bevor ich mit diesem Video loslege, ein paar Disclaimer rauszuhauen, weil sehr viele Fragen gibt es mittlerweile, wenn ich 2-3 Tage mal keine Videos mache, dann ticken Leute gefühlt aus. Ich verstehe es auch, weil immerhin bin ich ja sehr produktiv auf YouTube und auch auf Patreon, deswegen will ich nur ein paar Sachen adressieren. Zuallererst, der Bart ist ab. Der Bart ist ab, weil ich zu Halloween als Gomez Adams gegangen bin. Wisst ihr, wie lange es dauert, sich diesen Mini-Schnurrbart richtig zu rasieren? Meine Güte, das waren 90 Minuten irgendwie mit einem Trimmer, mit Nassrasur, mit Nagelschere und so weiter und so fort. Ich bin sehr stolz drauf. Poste ich ein Foto? Vielleicht. Aber ja, es gibt ein paar Sachen, die ich adressieren möchte. Sonntag geht Underworld, der Rewatch, wirklich zu Ende. Und Leute fragen sich, Buffy ist nicht gekommen, hast du es jetzt eingestellt auf Patreon und so weiter und so fort? Nein, habe ich nicht. Ich musste tatsächlich eine kleine Pause machen, weil ich auch weggefahren bin. Und erneut, ich kann mich bei der Deutschen Bahn bedanken. Eventuell wäre nicht so viel verschoben worden, wenn diese Bahn einmal pünktlich wäre. Ich stand gestern fast 3,5 Stunden an einem Bahnsteig und als ich dann nach Hause kam, war ich zu alle. Deswegen, Buffy dürfte heute auch auf Patreon erscheinen. Eventuell ist es schon online. Wenn dieses Video online ist, weiß ich nicht genau. Morgen geht's mit Lost weiter. Auf Patreon. Sonntag geht dann der Underworld Rewatch zu Ende und dann schaffen wir es wieder, eine ganz vernünftige Routine hier reinzubringen, weil ich habe sehr viele Videos zu Halloween gemacht. Ehrlich gesagt, ich habe noch nie so viele Videos veröffentlicht auf einem Kanal je in einem Monat als diesen Oktober. Und ich danke euch auch, dass ihr die Halloween-Zeit so krass gefeiert habt. Ich habe sie krass gefeiert, ich liebe es. Ich habe jetzt schon Ideen für den nächsten Monat, für den nächsten Halloween-Monat, also nächstes Jahr. So viele Sachen, die ich noch machen wollte, so viele, die ich wieder nicht geschafft habe, aber ey, wir hatten, glaube ich, 26 Videos oder irgendwie so im Gesamten, mit allem drum und dran, ich glaube irgendwie so, oder 25, irgendwie sowas und meine Stimme ist auch langsam weg vom Moderieren, ich bin echt alle, aber ganz egal. Aber ich möchte natürlich auch einen Shoutout geben an Marco und an Hardy. Ja, Marco von Nerd und Kultur, mein Podcastpartner, und Hardy, mein ehemaliger Kollege von Movie Pilot. Wir haben uns zusammengehockt und haben ein Halloween-Special gemacht auf Nerd und Kultur. Hört gerne rein, ich liebe es, Hardy am Start zu haben, wenn es um Horror geht. War extrem witzig, war ein wirklich cooler Podcast. Deswegen nochmal danke an euch beiden. Und jetzt geht's ums tatsächliche Video. Diese Woche startet Predator Badlands. Ich habe den Film schon geguckt, wie ich dazu stehe, das sage ich nicht, das möchte ich jetzt noch nicht sagen. Was ich sagen kann, ist, dass ich eine Einladung gekriegt habe. Ich durfte mit Dan Trachtenberg persönlich reden, dem neuen Mastermind in der kreativen Richtung, wenn es um Predator geht. Das heißt, der hat Prey gemacht, der hat Killer of Killers gemacht und er ist jetzt verantwortlich für Predator Badlands. Und wir haben uns wirklich zusammengehockt und hatten so einen ultimativen Predator-Nerd-Talk. Und das fand ich so geil. Das war so ein bisschen wie mein Sam Raimi-Interview. Das bedeutet, es war fast eine halbe Stunde lang. Und genau diese Art von Interviews möchte ich häufiger machen. Genauso etwas möchte ich auf diesem Kanal auch etablieren, wenn ich die Chance dazu kriege. Weil es war nicht einfach nur Frage, Antwort, Frage, Antwort. Nein, es war ein richtig spaßiges, super nerdiges Gespräch. Und dass ich eingeladen wurde als Ultra-Predator-Nerd, ja, bedeutet mir eine Menge und ich hoffe, ihr Ultra-Predator-Nerds werdet jetzt auch extrem viel Spaß mit diesem Interview haben, denn ich werde es jetzt ungefiltert veröffentlichen hier und ihr werdet es auch noch hören können bei Nerd und Kultur, wenn wir dann über Predator Badlands sprechen und was uns gefallen hat, was uns eventuell nicht gefallen hat. Aber dazu wird es ohnehin noch ein extra Video geben. Eventuell wird es noch einen Spoiler-Talk von mir geben zu Predator Badlands, weil über ein paar Sachen weiß ich jetzt schon, möchte ich mehr detailliert sprechen. Aber erneut, das hier ist kein Review. Ich möchte überhaupt nicht über Predator Badlands sprechen. Das kriegt ihr wahrscheinlich morgen. Ich glaube, morgen fällt das Embargo. Wahrscheinlich morgen. So, aber jetzt habt ganz viel Spaß mit dem Interview mit Dan Trachtenberg zu Predator Badlands, Prey, Predator, Predator 2, so ziemlich allem aus der Welt der geilsten Jäger aller Zeiten. Und ja, ich hoffe, ihr habt viel Spaß dabei, denn solche Interviews möchte ich sehr gerne machen. Ich mache sie unter anderem auch, weil ich das Gefühl habe, dass wenn man da längere Talks hat, ist das was Spaßiges, das kann der Community richtig gut gefallen. Und ich mache es nicht, weil ich sage, boah, ich habe unbedingt nur Bock drauf, jetzt mit anderen Leuten zu quatschen. Macht mir das persönlichen Spaß? Ohne Ende, ja, aber ich will da auch irgendwas rausholen, was einen Mehrwert hat für euch. Und ich glaube, das ist uns ziemlich gut gelungen mit diesem Talk. Deswegen, Predator Nerds, gebt euch den ultimativen Predator Talk jetzt hier exklusiv auf Believe. First of all, great to meet you. It's a genuine pleasure. It's a genuine honor. I grew up with Predator. I love Predator. Predator is kind of very, very dear and near to me. And before we talk about Predator Badlands, first of all, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for reinvigorating the franchise, bringing it back, and now bringing it back to the big screen. Love it so much to experience a Predator movie on the big screen. So thank you for that.
Oh, my pleasure. It's been a thrill of my life to do. I also grew up with Predator. And so it's been, frankly, I've seen everything I've done in my mind for the big screen. And I've had the pleasure of watching them all on the silver screen. And so it's with much delight that finally fans and anyone can now go see a giant movie like this in theaters.
I got very lucky to experience Prey on the big screen.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah,
awesome.
It was made for the big screen.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It was a completely different feeling.
Yeah.
And growing up with Predator, especially what that first movie was and how it continued to develop, what is so special about Predator? Why are we so obsessed with it?
On the one hand, it was peak Arnold.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
Thank you for that.
It's a great Arnold movie with some of his best one-liners.
Knock, knock.
And
favorite one.
so stick around. Of all the Arnold one-liners, the stick around is one of my favorites.
Yeah! Stick around.
The funny thing is, I did meet with Arnold, and what he said to me was that you'd think that I'll Be Back is the thing that's quoted to him the most, but actually it is Get to the Chopper. So
Get to the chopper!
So yeah, I think great Arnold movie, but also not that it was the first genre mashup, it was certainly mine. And I think that was very surprising back in '87 and captured our imagination. And when people revisit it, they're still quite taken, even just by that fact. One, that it sort of starts out as one kind of movie and becomes like multiple other things. It becomes a slasher movie, becomes a science fiction movie. But also just the idea of investing in characters in one genre and then putting them through a gauntlet in another is something that the other entries may not have taken full advantage of, and is something that I really wanted to do with Prey and Kill of Killers, and now certainly Badlands as well. Yeah.
That's what's so great about it. You came for Arnold, but you came back and revisited for something entirely different. I think that's one of those movies where you think, oh, it's like Commando. And it turns out it's a monster movie, it's a survival film, it's a slasher, it's a horror movie, it's all of these things combined.
Totally.
And you coming aboard, you have played a little bit with genre, with Killer of Killers, with Prey. I always call Prey the Revenant of the Predator movies. And now Badlands. Badlands is probably the biggest swing creatively taken because you've taken this icon of horror and these iconic visuals that we have come to associate with the creature, and you turned him into the lead character. So where did that come from?
It came from the fact that it just does not exist.
Yeah.
If you love Predator, you can watch Predator whenever you want. If you love Prey, you can watch that whenever you want. We've never seen a science fiction movie center the story around the creature. And there was something really awesome to me of any franchise to do it, letting it be the most fiercest, badass thing in the entire galaxy. And it makes for an awesome character to have the like Mad Max or Clint Eastwood or Conan, that kind of the spirit behind that characterization thrust through a gauntlet on an alien planet with crazy creatures and flora and fauna that's trying to kill it, and pair it with a robot that's been severed in half. And, like, I just felt like there's something really cool about making a movie that I'd love to see that I never even would have imagined when I was a kid. This idea only comes from loving all the movies that are more traditional, like loving Star Wars and Star Trek and Predator and for what they're worth, and then be ready for the next kind of movie.
And I love the fact that this particular Predator also continues the trend of the underdog. Because that's always what the Predator is all about. Every single lead character turns immediately into the underdog when facing the Predator. Like even Arnold Schwarzenegger is the underdog in the first film.
Yep.
People always get it twisted, always make that mistake. They're like, yeah, it's the no, but Arnold really has to come up with new inventive idea to take him down.
That's
because
right.
he just can't run towards him, punch him in the face, and be like, yeah, stick around. No, he can't do that.
Right.
So that was really interesting to see a Predator stepping into the shoes of all these other legacy characters that we've seen throughout the past couple decades.
Yeah, I would even go further and say that every Predator movie is sort of an examination of what true strength really is.
Yep.
And that was apparent in the 87 movie when the size of guns and muscles did not matter, like facing off against the Yautja, and is very much the case in Prey and the 4 stories inside Killer of Killers. And so the idea of telling that same kind of tale, but now with the Yautja, the Predator, as the vessel, felt like we get to be an intense thrill ride, but also have something to say and something thematic to carry with you when you walk out of the theater. So it isn't just a good time. There's still some meat on the bone, which was there way back in 1987.
You just used the word Yautja. I'm so happy you did, because I read a lot of the Predator comics back in my day. To be honest, I read a few of the new ones as well. And to see the word Yautja pop up on screen first in Killer of Killers, then here again, that's the first time that the movies actually addressed the name of the species. How important was that to you, and why did you think, well, it's about damn time that we give it a name?
I mean, this was actually, Badlands was going to just be called Yautja initially, and Badlands was just the code name for it, and then Badlands became the name for it, and Backpack was the code name for it.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. Frankly, it was a narrative necessity to have the name of the species, and I just lucked out that there was a name for the species that is cool. It's cool sounding, cool to say, cool looking. It would have been a real bummer if the name was super goofy and not cool. But yeah, I mean, it is remarkable that name was so ever present in the fandom, and yet not in the movies, not even coming from the movies, you know. So it's with great pride that we now are including it in our entries to the franchise.
That was always so crazy to me, because I watched the first movie over and over again, but I grew up in a space where the extended lore already existed.
Yeah.
So I remember very vividly going back to rewatch some of the movies, and I was like, wait, they never call him Yautja.
You are one ugly mother.
That's so weird to me, because in my headcanon, that's what they're called.
Totally.
Like they call them the creature or the thing or whatever.
Totally.
And yeah, Predator, I mean, there's always a spin on the Predator-prey dynamic in every single movie. Who is the prey? Who is the predator? And what I found so interesting with your latest approach, being Prey, being Killer of Killers, and now Badlands, I think you have the awesome tendency of world building and hinting at stuff without fully demystifying, deifying some of the lore. A lot of stuff is hinted at, which I love. but you tend to leave me wanting for more with little cliffhangers. You did that this year with Killer of Killers.
Mm-hmm.
You've done it here again. So when you put something in there, like a little hint at the end of Killer of Killers, for example, and now there have been some additional scenes with Ember, obviously, and Danny and Arnold. Are there conversations with them to maybe return to the franchise? Because now in canon, they are still out there. They're still somewhat frozen.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't legally be able to include any of the imagery of those actors if we did not have their permission.
Because now the door is open for a connectivity for the very first time, because you have planted all these different seeds. I mean, that's not even a spoiler. That's in the film. That's in the marketing and in the trailer.
Yeah.
This movie obviously has a droid in it, and a very particular droid.
Yeah.
So when you get to play with all these different things and even crossing over into another franchise, do you have certain ideas where you'd like to take the story?
I do. I'm primarily focused on like, how does this movie get awesome using all these elements? But of course, you start to wander, and sometimes you want the break from trying to figure out all the problems that you're faced with when you're directing a movie, and you go, okay, what would I do in another one? How would I use that? What could that be? And so that's always a pleasure to think about what else could be. But we also were very focused on just making this movie awesome, and you won't get to make next movies without making the prior one badass. So.
As I think you should, which is, I think, a winning strategy. You focus on the story, but you have little byproducts in it where you can sink your harpoon, so to speak, into the hearts of the fans. But there is clearly a Weyland-Yutani reference. And when I saw that in the trailer, like, I went nuts. I went in front of a camera, I published a video. It's like, okay, so everything I thought about Predator Badlands just changed fundamentally, because now Weyland-Yutani is canon in this new wave of Predator movies that seems to be taking the franchise very seriously.
Yeah.
So my question is, if you could pick up where you left off, either it being right from Prey or the first Predator, even Predator 2 or Killer of Killers or Badlands, which story would you like to see continue like immediately as the next big Predator franchise?
I can't really answer that specifically, but what I will say is open the door to the idea that perhaps the chronology of the release of the movies is not the same chronology of what's happening in universe.
And especially with Killer of Killers, I think you opened the door for something that we're now experiencing a renaissance in, and that is animation. I mean, we have so many great animated feature films that are now also targeted at adult audiences. And when I saw Killer of Killers, I'm going to be quite frank with you, because I thought the movie I'm looking forward to this year, absolutely Predator Badlands, and I was not disappointed. I really liked it. I enjoyed the hell out of it. But I was like, yeah, Predator Killer of Killers is going to be the thing that will make the time waiting for Predator Badlands so much easier. And then I saw it, and I was like, I want to see that in theater. I was like, I want to see it in theater. And that was so much better than I thought it could possibly be. So is the door open to more animated stories?
Yeah, for sure, that was so fun to make. And the ability to express yourself in a totally different medium, and especially the kind of violence that you can enjoy in this franchise with all the things that come with it, we were able to really take advantage of the medium, and I think there's a lot more cool places to go with that format, and with the kind of stories that we would tell that way. So I would love to do more animated Predator for sure.
I would love to see them as well. Like my audience loved Killer of Killers.
Awesome.
They were all so surprised. I was surprised. I was genuinely surprised, because it came out of nowhere, saw it on streaming, and I was like, I gotta talk about this movie now. I really gotta talk about this movie. So I jumped in front of a camera and I dropped everything I was doing and reviewed it because I loved it so much.
Awesome.
And now we've seen this new approach because Predator Badlands, as you said before, is a sci-fi epic, but it's also an adventure picture, which is something we haven't really seen or discovered within the realm of Predator films. Are there other genres or subgenres that are still yet to be discovered, where you're like, I would love to do a Western, I would love to do whatever?
Sprinkles, you're bleeding.
I ain't got time to bleed.
You mean with Predator?
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, that even Killer of Killers, we got to tell a samurai story and a Viking tale and have a World War II dogfight, you know, and then a gladiatorial thing, you know. So like certainly the genre combination thing is right at the heart of the franchise, and I think there's I've had some very fun ideas of what else could be done merely from a genre perspective.
Can wait to see them come to fruition, because I think that's what's always been so important to Predator. And again, I always believe that some people get it twisted that this particular franchise is there to play with genre. And people connect it to a monster movie, which it is in the first film, but it turns into a buddy cop film in the second one. It turns into an almost Revenant-like picture with Prey, and now we have an adventure, which is why I think that is the appeal to me personally. It's always gonna be fresh. It can always be fresh because there's so much more stories to be told with the Yautja.
Yeah, the sense of surprise. By the way, even with the creature itself.
Yeah.
Like when I first saw Predator and saw the shimmer, I was like, oh, that's what it is, that crazy shimmer thing? And then it decloaks and you see it with the biomask. I'm like, oh, that's the Predator, that crazy, that's it. And then it takes the mask off and you're like, oh, that's the, right? So that sense of surprise for audiences back in '87, you can't recapture that by just redoing that. You have to think of ways to give that same feeling to an audience again.
I always thought that was a very, very clever on part of the plot and the story structure, the script structure, because as the movie unfolded and unpacked more, Predator unpacked more.
Yeah.
It revealed more aspects of itself as the story progressed.
Yeah.
Because at first we just had that POV shot, like a sniper.
Right.
Then it turned into a slasher, but it was almost like a Michael Myers character. And then at the end, you're like, what the hell is that? Like, that's like a lizard creature. And
but it's sentient. It has intelligence.
And it has a code of conduct.
It has a code. That's right. Yeah.
And you obviously played with different designs for the Yautja, which I personally enjoy, because if you look in the background of my videos, I have a few Predators there. Can't wait to add a deck to the collection.
Awesome.
But what is it about the different designs of the Predators that you're so interested in?
Well, on the one hand, I think that I've just always had a little bit of a bugaboo when, it's watching Star Wars and they cut to Kashyyyk, the planet filled with Chewbacca species. And it's just the same character model copied over and over, just with a few different beading and different hair color, and have always wanted to see an alien species treated the way that it is here on Earth, where everyone has quite a different, there's similarities, there's something that is obviously connects the aesthetic of in all humanity, but there's also tremendous differences, and once again, you can have Jungle Hunter on your shelf on the wall forever, and you can watch that movie, and there will be more stories to tell with that design, I think, as well. But it's also really fun to fall in love with some new designs.
Absolutely.
And have more to love and to hate and to be afraid of or to embrace.
Yeah, I'm in love with the Feral Predator. That's a sweet design, and the new one. It just fits the part because, he looks like an underdog. And I think there's something meta about it because you're taken aback when you see it in the trailer. You're like, he doesn't seem too menacing to me, but he needs to prove himself. And I think on a meta level, he needs to prove himself to the audience. And he did it for me personally. I was like, best case scenario, that's exactly what's going to happen. And it happened to me.
Right. Awesome. Perfect.
I have a few questions regarding just fan fulfillment and fan theories because the Predator is known to be the most badass killer and hunter of all time. But how do you think would he adjust to fighting the T-1000?
Love that. That's a face-off I would love to see. They are both quite formidable. In some ways, there are some similarities between the T-1000 and some of the dangerous creatures that he deals with on Genna in Badlands. And yeah, I mean, actually, I'm not even consciously, there's quite a few connections. And I think the Predator proves itself potentially capable of dealing with a threat like the T-1000.
And against Caesar from the Planet of the Apes.
Apes! Do not want war, but will fight if we must.
I think you would rip Caesar apart, Lynn. From
I think so too. I think so too.
Yeah.
And the last one is Colonel Quaritch from Avatar.
I pulled your record, Corporal. Venezuela, that was some mean bush.
Yeah, he would destroy him.
I think
destroy. Quaritch is like similar to Dutch, but not as
not as clever.
Not as clever, exactly. Yeah.
One last question, because they already showed me that we have to wrap it up. I need to ask that because Alien just recently came back, also on streaming and also in the theaters. Now we have the same with Predator. And now there's this movie that has a Weyland-Yutani android. Are there some talks or some ideas for a possible mashup?
The fun thing is Noah Hawley and Fede and myself have all talked to each other. And we didn't start out, I mean, Fede and I have been friends for a while. And Noah I've known over the years, and he graciously reached out when he saw that we had some Weyland-Yutani stuff in the movie and shared some of Alien Earth early on, but it was still when I was way late in post-production. Mm-hmm. I was somewhat aware of them. Romulus I hadn't seen when we were making Badlands. Alien Earth I was only just barely aware of. That's why Badlands is set so far in the future, to make sure that it isn't stepping on any toes. But the idea of us all holding hands and including more of each other's stuff would be awesome. Yeah, I think that would be really cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It was a genuine pleasure.
Awesome, dude. Thank you.
Thank you.
So cool. This was fun.
Yeah, it was fun to me too.
Awesome.
And to quote a great hunter,